Is it time now to buy or wait? Um, so I mean, the market's down right now, so I always think that if you want to get in, now is not a bad time to get in. I don't know how Dash is gonna continue to. It could continue to go down with this downturn, but relative to where it was the past month, I'd say that it's a pretty good price. It's almost half of what it was. Um, I don't know. I think that if by the end of the year we start to see a couple $100 billion projects, I think that if there are like four or five, I think Dash could easily be one of those top five. The only reason that I'm not putting my money in Dash is because I am betting on one or two other projects that I think will have a slightly bigger and better multiple. But I do like Dash a lot. So, Ed, how do we track the progress of adoption? I guess the best thing to do is to go on to. Uh, this is one of my favorite resources. If you go to the CoinMarketCap social page, you can look at the Reddit link and you can also look at their tweets. You'll see updates here. So you can see all the different. Anytime there's an update about, you know, a company that's implemented Dash or leveraging Dash in some fashion. Uh, Sorry about that. There's like a rope hanging from my apartment, and it's banging up against the wall. Um, so if that makes sense, so you can go to reddit.com/dashpay, and you can see all of the different pieces of news. So you can follow it pretty closely there. Oh, here we go. Discover Dash. Explore Dash merchants and events near you. So there is. So if you want to look, there's actually a site where you can see all of the different events and opportunities to purchase with Dash. Very cool. So I mean, this is what's so fascinating about Dash relative to other projects is that they've got a huge network of people that are putting up little sites like that. And um, let's see how many people are. There's 20,000 people. That's not too big. Um, there are a lot of people that are incentivized to work on the Dash ecosystem. Interesting. Any other questions? Um, so how does it compare with competitors like Rayblox? So again, one of the things that Dash has that Rayblox I haven't looked too closely into Stellar, but like what Rayblox doesn't have is Rayblox doesn't have this funding mechanism and this community to help propagate it, and that's yet right. So Rayblox could enable something like this, but Rayblox is a couple steps behind when it comes to implementation and having storefronts accept Dash. But from a technical standpoint, Rayblox, as we all know, isn't actually a blockchain, whereas Dash is based off the Bitcoin blockchain. Also, Rayblox doesn't currently support privacy. I mean, it is private, but there are extra functions within Dash to support an even greater level of privacy, which Rayblox currently doesn't have. But what Rayblox does have is this scaling mechanism where supposedly it can handle 7,000 transactions per second. I don't know what Dash's transactions per second is. Let's see. Let's see. Interesting. So they're looking at about, it looks like roughly 26 to 23, sorry, 56 to 26 transactions per second, which is not very high. Um, Yeah, so they're looking at Dash potentially only having 56 transactions per second, which is very low. It's possible that it could scale up in the future, but relative to some projects like Rayblox, which is looking to actually, there might actually be a really good. I posted it somewhere. Let's see. Uh, see if I can find it. Here we go. So speed per transaction for Dash, it's 15 minutes. For XRB, it's 2 seconds. The cost is free. For Dash, it's almost 40 cents per transaction, which doesn't seem like a lot, but that can add up over time. It can add up for merchants, it can add up for individuals. It looks like Dash, hypothetically, we'll give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe 10 to 50 transactions per second. Whereas Ripple hits 1,500 transactions per second, and XRB could theoretically be 7,000 transactions per second. So I think scalability and cost are both two big factors when we look at these different protocols. So does that make sense? So if we look at this, I mean, obviously this is Rayblock centric. Well, let's see. Maybe this is not accurate. Correct. So here's another example where it puts Dash at 28 transactions per second. So uh, I think scalability will be a big play for any other project that's looking to overtake Dash or any of these other coins. Scalability, transaction cost, and time to send. So Lee asks, I haven't been on a couple of weeks. Do you mainly pick a different crypto each day to talk about? So we have so there are four of us in the trading room that go from 9:45 to what, like 1:30. Sorry about that. And once so every week we each of us will take on one project. So um, last week I did what did I do? I did Cardano, and then I did IOTA and then Cardano and Bitcoin. So each week it usually works out so that every day one of us is taking on one. Tuesday through Thursday, and then Monday we don't do one. Uh, Jerry, are you talking about for Dash? So if you look at Dash's team, they actually have a pretty large team. So they've got a core team that manages the organization, but then they've got a lot of developers that are supporting it. So not insignificant, I'd say.